and I'm like, okay, here we go. And I'm gonna start the audio because we're already a little bit late. And then I was like, Ben, what's up? And you were like, you're an hour early.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta. You are an hour early. My
Yeah.
micro my Ooh, metal. My mic.
Hey, now I hear you.
Yeah, my mic volume was down low because if you remember last week I had to leave really quickly.
Oh no, it
Uh,
logged me out.
what?
It logged me out, Ben.
we're getting off to such a great start today, aren't we?
Yeah. Let's see if it let's see if it actually
So when you say logged you
requires
out,
me.
do you mean that you lost everything you recorded up until now?
Yeah, that's the question is has it lost the audio? Let's see. Let's find out. So I'm typing in the password.
Well, hey everybody who's joined us, who did join us but has now left. Uh,
Oh, no, yeah, it's still recorded. Yeah, we've been
all
recording this
right,
whole time. Isn't that great?
hooray!
It and the entry, the start of this is great, Ben. The start of this episode, one for the books.
We've lost our one and only viewer.
Oh no! So the
Oh,
start of
they're
this
back.
episode is just me talking, going, well, maybe I should do this. I don't know. When am
Yeah.
I?
Well,
I think this is good.
what
That
happened
kind of thing.
was what happened was I have a meeting I have to get to at 5, and we record the show from 4 to 5 my time, and we usually go kind of long. So I texted you, and I was like, "Hey, Paul, can we start 15 minutes early at
Yep.
3:45 my time, 5:45 your time?" You were like, "Yes, remind me." So I reminded you when I sent you out the links, and it was only 2:45 when you logged on.
Yes. And the
So
reason for that is because two things. One is I work, as we know, on the East Coast. And so doing it an hour early would have meant doing it at 4 4:45 Central Time, but it would have looked like 5:45 Eastern Time.
But
So that's where my problem is.
it's okay that you're not actually actively working right now. Are you done with work?
Yeah, because I get off work at 5
Oh, excellent.
on Eastern Time. Now I do start work at 8 Eastern Time, which is 7 a.m. my time.
Yeah,
So
that's
you know,
early.
but I work from home, so I can kind of roll out of bed and just start working. Which some people that sounds bad. They need their time with their coffee and
That's
their.
me. I had a dentist appointment today, and my dentist is in Olympia, Washington. For the people, I live in Seattle, Washington. If anybody knows Northwest geography, that's about a 60-mile difference, and not that many people travel 60 miles to go to their dentist, but I do because I've been going to the same dentist since I was about 10 years old. I am
So
now
he knows your mouth very well.
very well, and I'm 45, so you can do the math. So yeah, I've been going to the same dude. The hygienists have changed. My favorite hygienist retired, so I no longer have Sally, and now I have a rotating cast of characters. Who knows? I don't even know the gal's name who cleaned my teeth today. But yeah, I like so I had to leave my house. My appointment was at 10. I had to leave at least by 8:30, so I wouldn't be late, which meant getting up at 7, which is early for me to get up at 7, which is 9
Yeah,
o'clock
I
your
get
time.
up around.
You've already been up for quite some time.
Yeah, if but well, especially when you get up at 7. When you get
Yeah,
up at 7, that's like what,
it's nine
9
it's 9 o'clock your time. Yeah,
my time. Yeah, so I will have already been up for like 2.5 hours.
yeah. Now
Probably I get up around 6:30.
normally when I just get up and go to work, I don't make coffee at home. I can get up, shower, and get out of the house inside a half an hour. But today I needed to make my coffee so I could drink it, brush my teeth like I'd been brushing my teeth the entire 6 months since my last dentist appointment
Oh
because
yeah, of
you can
course.
fool them. Actually, I do have an issue with my teeth. Um,
Oh no.
Normally I don't have issue. I'm pretty good. Like when I was a kid, I had terrible oral hygiene habits, but I've gotten better. And my dentist has even recognized it. He actually told me today, he says, when you were a kid, I didn't think you were going to have any teeth left as an adult. And I'm like, well, thanks.
Oh,
Perhaps when I was a kid, you put the fear of God into me, and now I brush and floss. But I have a cracked tooth, and I'm going to need a crown. Here's the rub. It doesn't hurt. And according to my dentist, my insurance, which is crappy like ACA dental insurance, won't cover the crown unless.
can you explain what ACA is?
Affordable Care Act. So it's Obamacare. So I have.
Yeah. For those in the past listening who don't know
which
what that stands for,
didn't always
or in the
offer,
future.
They didn't always offer dental insurance, but they do now. And of course, you have like the lowest tier dental insurance. So basic cleaning is covered. If anything else has to happen, you're on your own, right? So my dentist says if I'm not experiencing any symptoms, insurance won't cover it. And so he basically told me for me to get this crown, I have to wait until my tooth breaks. Which is apparently a very painful thing.
Well, now, Ben, here's the other thing. Doc, hey, this is Ben Lawrence again. As soon as I got home, man.
I know.
Woo!
Well,
the pain.
That's the thing.
Oh, and tell him that it hurts whenever you have hot or cold liquids. If it's hot or cold.
The thing is, when I get home today, I'm actually going to look at my dental explanation of benefits, because if crowns aren't covered anyway, why the heck am I waiting for some sort of painful tooth breakage to get the crown? If I got to pay for it anyway, might as well do it now and take care of it before it's in the middle of the night and I'm in agony, excruciating tooth pain. Gotta wait for my dentist to open in the morning.
I got a question for you about Linux. Do you know anything about Linux?
I know little to nothing about it.
I think I've already figured it out. Screensaver. Regard the computer as idle after. Right now, it's closing every 5 minutes. I'm going to say after 60 minutes, consider it idle, and that way it's not going to go to sleep during the podcast, because that's what was happening. And not only that, but it was locking.
Oh, you said that this was just a new update, so because it never did this in the past. Yeah,
it went back to the defaults.
Gotcha.
Okay, so hopefully this will be good. So have we gained our one viewer back yet?
We have.
Hey, I knew it. I knew we would do it.
Don't know who it is.
So today was a banner day for me getting people that I like on Twitter to interact with me.
Oh, yeah?
It was amazing.
Who interacts with you on Twitter?
Well, let me explain. When I say to interact with me, I mean just liking a comment that I did or responding very briefly to something that I wrote.
Yeah.
First of all, you're familiar with the movie Buckaroo Banzai, correct?
I am. I've not seen it in like 15 years, but I have seen it.
One of my favorite films, and there is an actor whose name is Zach Oyama. And Zach Oyama is on Dimension 20. He's part of the main cast. He plays Gorgug, for instance, on Fantasy High, as an example. He has other characters as well. He's one of the main cast folks. And he was talking about how there was a debate going on online about if you're, for instance, a Pacific Islander and you're going to audition for a role as a Pacific Islander, how sometimes people who are East Asian will also be at those auditions, and how it's frustrating sometimes because you don't have a lot of roles that are specifically Pacific Islander. And Zach Oyama mentioned that it's difficult for him uh, you know, as a as just a moral quandary, right? If he, as sort of a mixed person, auditioned for roles for Asian people, like specifically of a specific ethnic group, um, he feels that sometimes that isn't necessarily right, but also noted that if he were to just audition for roles for someone who's half Caucasian and half Japanese, that he wouldn't have that many roles to audition for. And immediately, as soon as I read this, and I'd mentioned this once before, but I was back to the thing that I was thinking about. Zach Oyama should be Buckaroo Banzai. There's no reason whatsoever why they should make a Buckaroo Banzai that doesn't have Zach Oyama as Buckaroo Banzai. He's funny and he's heartfelt. He's everything that Buckaroo Banzai should be.
Let me ask you this: are they remaking
Yes.
Buckaroo Banzai? Is that why you bring that up?
The reason I bring that up is I was looking through IMDb today, and there is a new version of Buckaroo Banzai, very sparse, Ben, listed simply as in development. Only the writer is credited, nothing else in it. And I posted and I said, once again, I note that there is a Buckaroo Banzai listed as in development in IMDb. We all know, Ben, in development on IMDb could be some guy somewhere mentioned to someone that he would love to make a movie about something, and it can show up in there. I know this. But I said
it means that somebody paid a writer to write a draft.
this should be a Zach Oyama vehicle. I said something to that effect. And Zach Oyama liked it. He saw it and he liked it. I was like, my work here is done. Now all that has to happen is his people have to talk to whoever those people are and then put it in. I've mentioned before, it's specifically the "Don't be mean" speech that he gives, which ends in "No matter where you go, there you are." But there's a thing where there's a crowd of people and they're kind of making fun of this woman who's crying in the middle of his concert because he stopped his concert to talk to this woman who's crying, and he gets her name wrong. But he's also very kind, and it's a very precarious scene because he's really heartfelt and he's really you feel the kindness coming off of him. And then we have him getting her name wrong and it being kind of a joke, sort of. And Zach Oyama could completely navigate that. This is what I'm saying. So that's number one. And then number two, Heather Ann Campbell posted this thing about you don't know who Heather Ann Campbell is, or
I do
or
not.
were you saying, "Oh, Paul, Heather Ann Campbell"? She's
somebody else on one
improv.
of your role playing things that you watch that I don't.
No. She's an improv person. She's a gamer. She's on the How Did This Get Played podcast, and she wrote an episode of the Twilight Zone, the Jordan Peele Twilight Zone that was on recently. A really good one, a really good episode. Anyway, she posted a picture of He-Man, the cartoon. There's going to be a He-Man cartoon coming out.
Kevin Smith property, I believe.
Oh, really?
Kevin Smith is doing the new Masters of the Universe.
Okay, well, is it? And it's a cartoon, yes?
It's a cartoon. No?
Yeah. Okay, then
we don't get a Frank Langella in a skeleton costume this time.
And he said, so Heather Ann Campbell posted it, and she said, could you imagine something that looks like this, but with Game of Thrones content and attitude? And I forget exactly the way it worked, but basically something that looks like this, but it's a Game of Thrones-esque storyline and content. And I said, have you seen Crown of Candy from Dimension 20? And she replied with no. And that was it. And I was like, okay, your tweet made me think that you would like it. On Also, I don't know how to deal with the fact that I'm talking to one of my heroes, so I'm just going to run away now. Thanks. Okay, good. And she wrote back and said, haha, okay. So that was good. That was a good interaction.
Oh, you wrote that bit?
Head,
That wasn't just like your internal monologue?
oh yeah, that's what I wrote. Because honesty, truth and comedy, Ben. Heather and Campbell is an amazing improviser. She is part of the group Heather and she's on Whose Line Is It Anyway sometimes in the U.S. The new ones.
I have not seen
But anyway,
any of the new ones.
she and this guy named Miles have this show called Heather and Miles. It's a improv, two-person improv thing, and the ones that I've seen, very good. So those two interactions went really well today.
Thomas Middleditch and Ben Schwartz do an improv TV show on
Yes.
Netflix. Have you checked that out? I was interested in watching that, but I'm
Okay.
I'm suspicious of improv, I'll be honest.
So you're right to be suspicious. First of all, this is actually one of those things where I can give a good disclaimer. I really loved those specials. I watched both. There were two of them. I watched both of them. They're really good. Apparently, Thomas Middleditch is a sex pest. And
is that true?
Yeah. So I
won't watch it.
I need to point it out.
A sex
I
pest.
enjoyed them.
I'd not heard that phrase before.
Well, apparently there's a goth club that he went to, and he was inappropriate there towards the patrons there, and people complained about it. And I am not.
I want to make some sort of joke about being inappropriate in a goth club. Like what? He was wearing pastels?
Oh, hey, speaking about wearing pastels in a goth club, do you remember that in Seattle there was an underground goth club, and Joseph Krebs was very famous for being allowed inside the goth club while wearing blue jeans?
Are we talking about the Mercury?
I don't believe we're talking about the Mercury.
The Mercury is the only goth club I know about, and it was somewhat exclusive.
Was it exclusive?
I could only go if I was with somebody who was a member, and I had to sign in.
That must have been the Mercury.
But
here are the two things. One, Joseph Krebs doesn't wear blue jeans a lot. First of all, in general.
No, he wore blue jeans. He wears blue jeans and sport coats. That was his look.
So he wore blue jeans and sports coats. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then the story is only half as good as I thought it was. The one time he wears blue jeans, he goes into they weren't going to let him in, and he talked his way in. I was there when that part happened.
I'm Joseph Krebs, writer, conversationalist, and I want to be inside your club.
Exactly.
Yeah, I went to a couple of Gilson had like a birthday party at the Mercury that I went to once.
Gilson had a birthday party at the Mercury?
Yeah, they had like swing nights. Like every Monday was like 40s night instead of like goth night. It was. Is he
one of the swing dancing kind of guys?
I think he went through that kind of phase. Gilson, if you're listening, write us in at Ben's email at yahoo.com at gmail.com and correct us. I know that I've been there, and I think it was on Mike Gilson's behest.
Because when you said the Mercury has swing nights, I thought of something completely different. Whee!
Yep. They have swings hanging from the rafters, but they're not what
I'm pretending to have sex with someone else's wife. I had to, because I'm French, and I speak in a high pitch.
Yeah, judging by your tank top, you are French.
Hey, look at this, right? Oh, boy, oh, boy.
It's a very casual look for you. Is it casual Thursday on the East Coast?
Okay, so listen to this, right? I work from home, and I can wear whatever I want, and corporate America hates me. Also, working class America hates me as well because I work from home, and so I am not in danger of catching COVID. But I'm sorry, say again.
Bosses hate this one little trick that Paul does. Did you hear the latest CDC guidelines that just came out today?
Yeah, that you can go ahead and not wear masks.
Yeah, if you're vaccinated,
Yeah.
you can even be in a room with people who are not vaccinated. The CDC says that's okay. How do you feel about that?
Well, okay, so this is I will say the joke that I posted on Twitter because it's totally true. This is exactly what I said. I said, "Aha, well, this is fine. Okay, I won't wear I can not wear a mask, but how will people know that I'm actually vaccinated? I'm afraid that I'm gonna make them feel uncomfortable by not wearing a mask because they're not gonna know if I'm vaccinated or not. If only there were some sort of visual cue that I could give them to let them know that I have been vaccinated, that isn't wearing a mask. Something like, and then my inner Jack Chick pamphlet voice was like, aha, what about a mark on your forehead or right hand? Har, har, har. Um, all of this happened within a span of seconds. But yeah, I was thinking, yeah, you know what? Granted, sure, mark of the beast, but also convenient. Convenient for me to go, oh yeah, I got it already.
I heard that you should not laminate your vaccination card because lamination actually will deteriorate the paper faster than if the paper is not laminated.
this actually happens with documents. I knew about this, official documents. Yeah, that was a big problem that they ran into. That they're like, oh, these will keep forever, and then it was like, no, the interaction between the chemicals actually makes
Yeah.
it go worse.
Paper actually has no way to off gas, and so it eats itself. I mean, granted,
Yeah.
the lamination will save your document if, like, say, you put it through the washing machine, but don't do
Yeah,
that.
exactly. So here's the thing. How do I feel about it?
Is your
Because of
behavior going to
my
change?
um well, not really, because I'm much more comfortable the way that I'm living now than I did before the pandemic. I like not going out and doing things. You know this about me.
Yeah, I
I'm
know this about you.
you can drag me places and I'll be like, yeah, okay. And I like people and I like friends and all that. And if I'm at a party, it's not like I'm gonna necessarily have a bad time, but getting me to the party is very difficult. I'm not really up for it. So
Because you
so in
didn't have a
that
driver's
way,
license.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Because you when I had to drive you around to parties, it was because you didn't have a driver's license
Yes.
or a car.
Not having a driver's license really does help for not going places. Having a dog also, oh, sorry, got to take care of the dog. Can't do it. You know, uh,
Yeah, too bad.
I
Too bad your kid's old enough to take care of herself these days. You can't use
I
her as an
know, right?
excuse
She
either.
walked to the store by herself the other day.
What?
Yeah, right? Crazy. Crazy times we're living in. But yeah, so this is the thing is that it is nice not wearing a mask uh just just for one specific reason because I can eat while I'm walking. I can eat jelly
Yeah.
beans while I have jelly bellies in my pocket, and what I used to do was I would put them into the side of the mask and let them slide down the side of the mask into my mouth. That was how I used to do it. Now I can just eat them like a normal person.
Thank God
Um,
that atrocity is over.
yeah, 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 yeah. But other than that, I mean, like if they made it mandatory to wear masks, even like if the CDC hadn't said that, you still have to wear masks indoors. You know, if I go to a store and they're like, hey, you still need to wear a mask even if you're vaccinated in our store, I would still wear it because I care about following the rules and making people comfortable.
Yeah.
There are also, and this is the thing, I can guarantee you there are people here in Illinois who will not wear masks, tell people that they're vaccinated when they're not, and cases are going to go up. There's nothing. CDC said this. People will go, oh, CDC said that I can come in and you don't have to see my card to know that I'm vaccinated. I am. whatever.
Yeah.
And right, you can't do anything about it. And so, yeah, I being on the side of science and following the CDC guidelines was good for me when it had more restrictions. It'll be fine for me now, but I also care about people, and I always will. So it makes me a little, you know, um, concerned. But there's being a nervous ninny pro science and being a nervous ninny anti science. And if the CDC says that I can walk around without a mask now that I'm vaccinated, and I'm still afraid of what people think of me, and I want to wear the mask so that people won't be mad at me, that is more on the nervous ninny side now. It's me not trusting in the science at that point. Which isn't to say that I won't do that. I'm just saying that I recognize that science says that I can do it.
Yeah. I mean, we live here in Seattle. We're a very pro-mask town. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm noticing more and more people who are not wearing masks outside. We hit like peak outside wearing masking, probably around like early winter, November, December, and or I guess but now, and so when you saw somebody outside who wasn't wearing a mask, you're like, well, that jerk. But now when I see people who aren't wearing a mask, I have to stop. Instead of immediately thinking, well, that jerk, I'm like, well, maybe they're vaccinated and they don't feel they need to. And now that the government and the science is telling us that that's okay now, so I'm still going to continue to wear my mask outside and indoors in public places. But like,
Yeah,
I
I
just
don't wear
I
I don't
want to
wear
be
my mask
around.
outside anymore unless somebody's coming towards me. This is a
Yeah,
thing that you don't get that much of being in Seattle, that you'd be outside and there aren't
there's always somebody
people.
around. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm alone on the street a lot. Ben, I'm alone on the street a lot.
Paul, do you need
It's
help?
just part of my I'm just saying it's part of my aesthetic. I'm a loner, Ben,
A rebel?
just out here on these streets. Hey, speaking about being out here on these streets, any corrections, any interactions, anything from anybody?
No corrections. I didn't open up the phone number webpage because I was surprised we were starting the show. So I wasn't able to get
Yeah.
everything open.
Oh,
No
by the way, the
new
number you can
emails
see
or
it on the
texts.
screen if you're watching the live chat. It's B10 lung lag. That's right.
B10 lung
Uh,
lag.
216-586-4524. And hey, if we call you and try to sell you something or claim that your computer has viruses, that's not us. Someone spoofed our number.
Indeed, which has already happened.
Oh, did it happen again, or are you talking about
No,
like the
just I'm
one
talking
time
about the first time it happened.
Okay. Because yeah, I thought you meant like today.
Nope.
It's possible, but
It's possible. I mean, it's also
um,
possible that it's constantly happening. It's just that only one person has thought to call us back and complain.
you'll notice that I'm touching my face a lot because I figure I can do that too.
You
Just
are
very
your
much
own
enjoying
person.
touching my face.
Gosh, remember
Uh,
back in the day when we weren't allowed to touch our faces?
this is what I'm saying. Yeah, it's very exciting. Um, hey, what about the news, Ben? What's going on with the news?
What is going on with the news? You know, it's funny. It's really great having a president that I have no idea what he's doing.
Oh no! Oh no!
What?
I just remembered what's going on in the news, Ben.
What's happening?
Oh, I don't know if we should talk about it. Israel and Palestine, Ben. Tons of tons of
I
stuff.
I only have heard very few things about this, but I hear that it's getting pretty dicey over there.
Well, here's the thing. This is Israel is cops, basically. That's the way to think about the
The TV show?
no, I mean, like um when you think about the whole cops versus protesters thing,
Oh, okay.
right? That's the way I would describe what's going on right now. And the reason I mention it is this. Um there are a lot of actions that are happening that one could easily see as being provocations. And then if someone were to do anything based on these provocations, then it's like, aha, you see, I am justified to use my force for
Right.
whatever. So that's kind of
So do
the
you know what's
feeling I get.
going on? Like, why did this start? How did this start? Well, how did it escalate?
The understanding that I have is that there is at least in one incident there was a raid that happened on a mosque during a time. Well, you never want to have a mosque raided in general,
At
but this
any
is
time,
like
yeah.
at a time where it was a high provocation. uh and then also the one thing, like one of the things I know to lead up to here, there was a video that went viral of a guy who was taking over somebody's house, and they're like, what, you don't live here, don't, what are you doing? And he's like, hey, if it's not me, it's going to be somebody else, you know uh because people are annexing places where other people are living. Basically, and it's
It's
seen
more
as being an
territory dispute
apartheid
then.
state right now,
Okay.
basically. And the one of the main reasons I know this on TikTok is that I follow uh a Jewish guy who lives in the United States, who is pro Palestinian freedom, pro two-state solution, pro, all that sort of stuff. And people keep on sending him anti-Semitic hate mail. And when I say people, I don't mean like people from Palestine, although maybe there are. I'm talking about like white American people. Uh, and so that's not cool. That's not cool. So when I was like, "What's in the news?" I'm like, "Oh, this, a very complicated and gross thing happening."
So we should obviously try to solve it.
Yeah, I think I did. If you listen back, I think no, the basic thing that this person said that I think is a very good point is that it's hard to help Palestinians. One of the reasons being that the organizations that are, supposed to help them may not get the money to them, all that kind of stuff. So there are websites, like I think one is called shoppalestine.org. I'm not positive about that. Don't quote me on it, but it's something like that, where you can buy things directly from Palestinian people. They're selling goods and services and things, and so in that way you give them economic
Like Etsy for
help.
Palestine.
Right, exactly. So instead of donating money, you're actually just helping with their economy,
Yeah.
basically. So that would be that. Of course, a very complicated thing. The nice thing is that the rest of the world also exists, and in the rest of the world there are good and non-complicated things like dogs, and cookies,
Well,
and
did you hear about this? Elon Musk hosted Saturday Night Live, and during the
oh
show, Dogecoin took a tumble. The
yeah.
cryptocurrency that's based on a meme tumbled. I don't know why. I just heard that happened, and I thought that was pretty funny.
Also, Tesla stock went down as well,
Did
from
it?
what I understand. Has gone down
There was
since.
there's this this YouTuber. I don't really like that phrase YouTuber, but there's this guy who does videos for YouTube, Cody Johnston, and he has a channel called Some More News. And he did a whole breakdown of why Elon Musk is not your friend and why, like, deifying him in sci-fi culture, not sci-fi culture, in scientific culture, in technology culture, is actually not a very good idea and actually has no basis for it to even happen other than he's a cult of personality. Like, he has his name on maybe 3 patents for the Tesla.
Yeah.
But you know, he just points out some awful things that he's done in terms of like the Tesla workforce, in
Mm.
terms of like his COVID denierism.
Hmm.
So Elon Musk is not your friend. Check it out. Some more news. You get past the first 3 minutes where this guy has this shtick where he's like this hairy news reporter. It gets
Did you say hairy news reporter or harried?
harried, like oh
Okay.
my god, where's this piece of paper? I have no idea what's going on. Get me my coffee. You know, that kind of.
Yeah.
It's just it kind of grates on the brain a little, and on the ears too.
I
But
just
for
got a
the
text from Jennifer. Mass Effect is third person. That is not a correction for our show, but it is the only interaction that has happened during the podcast, so I thought that I should bring it up. Mass Effect, Ben, the game has a new version that has come out. It's called Legendary Edition. It has better graphics, and we were playing Resident Evil Village, which, as you know, has the big lady in it, the big vampire lady. But it's first person, and Jennifer doesn't like first person. So we were asking ourselves, oh, I wonder if Mass Effect Legendary is first person or third person.
do you
And
two
now we have the
play
answer.
do you two play your games together?
No, we don't play them together, but we do play the same games. Like, so if we buy the game, then we both have it. So we play it at certain times, at the same times. So we played Returnal. Returnal is all right, but it gets very monotonous. There's a new style of video game, and it's very similar to Walking Simulator. Not in the way it is, but in the a new game comes out, and you're like, oh, a new game. Well, this looks good. I'm gonna get it. And then as you're playing it, you're like, all I'm doing is walking from place to place. Oh, dang it! I just bought a walking simulator. That's what this kind of game is. I'm going to walk to this place. I'm going to look at something. Someone's going to tell me a story. Then I'm going to walk to this place. And I'm going to see a vision of the past where someone tells me a story. And then I walk to this place. That's a walking simulator. In the same way, there's a new style of game, which is the same game over and over and over again. And you just get better at playing the same thing over and over again. That is exactly what Returnal is. You just play the same. You're doing the exact same action over and over and over again,
Sounds exciting.
getting maybe a little better at it, right? Which is why Resident Evil Village was good, because there's a story and you're going through it point to point to point. But first person, Jennifer doesn't like it, so Mass Effect maybe is going to be the next thing we get. Pretty exciting. Sorry. So coughing. So yeah, the last
No other
thing we were
news.
talking about.
No other
was what?
news. Yeah, we were talking about
Oh,
Elon
no.
Musk.
Oh yeah.
But
Also, that Saturday Night Live, I saw one sketch from it. And I hated it.
was
And
it
the
the
only reason I
Mario
saw it is
Brothers? one?
No, it was the Gen Z hospital thing.
I did not watch any of it, but I have seen screenshots of Elon Musk's Wario.
Here is the thing that's interesting about Gen Z hospital. It brought up a fact, and a lot of black creators on TikTok mentioned it, that people use the term Gen Z to talk about African American culture because a lot of Gen Z culture originates with black creators on TikTok, which is true. I'm not going to tell you exactly how, dear listener or Ben. Just look it up. Look up a black
Not
creator
heard this,
talking
but
about.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the phrase Gen Z existed before TikTok. So
No, no,
TikTok
no.
is
What they're saying is, for instance, cap, saying that something is cap, right? Oh, that's how the Gen Z folks talk. It's actually, an African American phrase that then was adopted by the larger group of Gen Z kids. So I'm not saying that African Americans came up with the term Gen Z. I'm saying that black people on TikTok feed into a lot of culture that people call Gen Z. Hey, Jennifer, could you come down here for a second? I need you to do a live fact check for me because Jennifer is much on the TikToks. I'm making a statement. I want you to tell me if what I'm saying is true or false. A lot of things that people claim or people label Gen Z culture actually started on Black TikTok.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Appeal to authority. Jennifer says yes.
Yeah.
Can you give me one example?
So there is a type of posing that they do where they put their fingers next to their arm, and that is a African American pose from basketball culture and from TikTok, and it means ice in your veins.
Like you're
It doesn't
saying,
mean I'm a fucking heroin addict. It means I have ice in my veins. I mean I'm like hardcore. I go to mat, whatever.
yeah. But I mean, we've seen it ourselves, Ben. This isn't a new phenomenon. It's just that
no.
it's starting with Gen Z now.
I'm not saying that people in the outside world aren't appropriating black culture from the internet. I'm just saying I have not heard it.
Oh, sorry, Jennifer. What?
Gen Z people do believe they created that.
Oh, but Gen Z people believe that they created that. Is what
they created it because they saw it online or they saw it in real life, and they're so yeah. Right. I just never heard of something like that being being attributed to one specific culture or one specific generation.
Yeah. It's not as I mean, because of the internet, it's more immediate. But and you've heard about this kind of stuff. Yeah, basically there was another thing that happened on the Fallon show, the Jimmy Fallon show, where this TikToker showed up and did a whole bunch of dances, but the original creators of those dances weren't part of the conversation. Same sort of thing. There's a lot of things where black creators are the innovators of the thing, and then it gets mainstream, and the innovators of the thing don't get the credit.
See also rock and roll.
Yeah. Interestingly, somebody mentioned that if you find old interviews with Elvis, that he would actually like call out people that he's like, if you like what I'm doing, you should check out this guy, and this guy, like original black creators who, and he basically is saying they're doing this stuff. I'm following in their footsteps. I'm doing that stuff. I don't know how true it is, but I believe that it's something that he might have done when he was younger.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Elvis did he do that?
Was a hero to most.
Did he do that before or after he asked Richard Nixon to kick the Beatles out of America?
Yeah, I don't know. But how did that go? Probably not that well. Seems like.
He didn't have to kick him out. They
Oh!
left voluntarily.
Did we talk about the last time? Did we talk about how they remastered the or did have a director's cut of the time that Prince
Which I
was
watched, and I
playing?
wasn't really sure what made a director's cut. Yeah, there were hard cuts instead of fades, more shots of Prince, but I mean, I didn't get anything new out of it.
Did we talk about this though already?
I don't know. Did
Because
we?
George Harrison's son looks like George Harrison. Now this
Yes.
shouldn't be a shock to anyone, but I mean, watching it, it's like if we find out later that George Harrison had himself cloned, I would believe it. That's number one. Number two, how happy George Harrison's son was that Prince showed up, and then when Prince started playing guitar, was great.
Well, he looks happy in the video, but I read an article where George Harrison thought Prince was a bit over the top, or Danny Harrison thought Prince was a bit over the top.
Oh no,
Yeah.
that's too bad. I like what I saw versus what I heard, article wise.
But
Hey,
I've
speaking of,
before
Oh.
that director's cut came out, I would watch that video probably once a week. It's
Wow, really?
the video is the rock and roll induction of either George Harrison or the Beatles in total, but it's like basically the Traveling Wilburys minus Roy Orbison and George Harrison and Prince playing While My Guitar Gently Weeps
with Danny on it, and
with Danny Harrison on guitar.
who is singing? Is that the guy from Fish?
No. It was Last Dance with Mary Jane author or writer.
No,
singer.
no, Tom Petty. Tom Petty sings.
Yeah, Tom Petty.
And then somebody else sings.
Oh, that's it's the guy from ELO. What's his name?
Really?
Yeah.
I like ELO a lot.
Dang it, what's his
now
name?
I'm gonna have to find his name.
And he's obviously an influence in a design for one of the Muppets in the Electric Mayhem.
Hey, speaking about a Muppet. Hey, Betty!
I'm gonna look it up.
This guy.
Jeff Lynne. It was Jeff Lynne.
Jeff Lynne. I don't know Jeff Lynne, but now I do. And I really liked it when he was no offense to Tom Petty, but when he was singing, I was like, oh, this is nice.
And the guitarist they had was like prided himself on able to match note for note Eric Clapton's original guitar solo on the song. And if you listen to the original Beatles song, you know it's Clapton playing that riff on that song. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, in the later days, the Beatles would just quietly bring in guest musicians, and it was one of those things. I read this other story. It was one of those things where it was at the time where the Beatles were kind of like they were a family, right? And so they argued like a family. And so when somebody like Eric Clapton was in the studio, they behaved themselves because they didn't want to bring that guy into their own drama.
So hey, look who it is, Betty. Hey, man.
Hello.
Hey, Betty, how's it going? Cool shirt.
Good. Thank you. How are you?
Doing all right. Your parents are saying that they have a game called Returner, Render. It's like you play the. Do you play the same games your parents play? That's my question.
Sometimes.
Yeah. What's your favorite game of your parents that you play?
I don't know. I've been playing. I haven't really been playing games that often, but I really like Crash Bandicoot 4 right now.
Oh yeah, I've played that. Yeah, on the Nintendo Switch, I've played Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, pretty fun. I like Mario Kart better. I'm a Mario Kart person because that's what I grew up with.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh. Um. Uh. I have a dog. Look at this
Yeah,
dog.
I can see Edward right now, kind of.
Okay.
Do you have any
My.
questions? Here's a new segment. Let's crowdsource question from Betty. Do you have any question you want to ask the internet?
Hmm.
And we'll tell you what the answer is next week.
How are you doing? That's why I know. How
That's
are
the
you
question.
guys?
All right.
Yes.
We'll have the internet answer that question next week.
I'm gonna give you back to Dad.
Okay, great. Bye. Good talk.
Yeah. Hello.
Could you hear what I was saying?
No, I couldn't.
All right. Well, basically, what I said was I asked Betty if she had a question for the internet, and
Oh.
we would give her the internet's answer next week. So her question was, "How you doing?"
Yeah. So, internet, how are you doing? Let us know
At benzemail at
yahoo.com, at gmail.com. And yeah, let us know how you are, and then we'll let Betty know. Well, we have about 4 minutes left. I'm still liking Unprepared Casters. It's
no idea what that
a
is.
D&D podcast that's worth listening
Do you consume any non D&D / role playing pop culture?
What do you mean? Like right now?
Is there any other kind of pop culture?
Yeah, sure. I still listen to BigSoftTitty.png.
I'm afraid I'm gonna have to bleep that.
Which is Australian pop culture. And I watch other TV sometimes, but it's mostly that's mostly what I like right now.
Yeah.
As you know, I can become sort of focused on a specific topic. That is kind of what's going on right now.
Focused like a laser beam. I know some people hate that phrase.
Here's something interesting, Ben. I'll tell you. I'm going to be taking over DMing my D&D group when our current DM stops DMing and becomes just a player. And I'm already working on the world and everything like that.
Demoting himself.
Yes. It's very similar, as you know, in the theater world, where someone who is the director in a nonprofit theater company, someone who's like the artistic director, let's say, takes a step back and says, I'm no longer going to be artistic director. I'm just going to, work on this play, or I'm going to help out at the box office, or, whatever. People do that sometimes. This
People
guy's been wanting
bricks.
to play for a while. What's that?
People need bricks.
That's right. I thought you said people need bricks, and I'm like, that's right. Straight through the window.
Hey.
Smash the state. Anarchy. But so one of the cool things that I'm doing right now is I'm just working on their when I say there, I mean the people who are in the show. I'm working on in the D&D group. I'm working on their backstories. I'm working on what they were doing before this time. And
they don't make up their own backstories?
Well, they do kind of, but also they don't. I'm feeding them stuff, and I'm like, I was thinking your character is kind of like this. How does that sound? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, okay. And I just asked one of these guys recently, and I'm waiting to see what he says. So your chief had his son kidnapped and eaten by a rival village, a guy from a rival village. When the elder son and you found this guy, he was sleeping, and the chief's elder son killed him while he was sleeping. And then the elder son told you to tell his dad that they had a fair fight and that the elder son beat him. What do you say? And then I wait to see what he says, and then I move things along from there, basically. And this is all before we're playing. But the basic thing is that I'm trying to figure out points where their timelines converge and stuff like that, so that ever in game, if they're talking about this, one of them will go, "Hey, wait a second, you lived in this area? Well, do you know this person?" And they'll have like people in contact and stuff like that. The fun part about it is it's really like writing a play for a couple of people. It's like making a movie for a couple of people. It's right now with social media, Ben, and so if you're trying to reach as many people as possible, and it's kind of interesting creating something for specific groups of people.
How many people?
Be,
how many people are in this campaign that you're DMing?
Let's see. It's 2, 3, 4, 5 people, and me. So. Yeah, is that right? I think so. Yeah, 5 people and me. So 6 altogether. Because I'm all the other characters. Haha. Which is nice. All right. Well, I think, Ben, that might be it. We don't have anything from anyone. How many
Nothing.
viewers do we have right now? Still 1. Wonder if it was the same one the whole time. Hey, if it was, thanks. And even if it wasn't, thanks for watching now.
Yeah, thank you for watching, and we will see you next week.
Next week, and until then, keep
at
it wrong.
Some random time. Keep it wrong, Paul.
Yes.
Talk to you later.
I will try to keep it right. Oh no, I won't. Oh, I'll keep it wrong.
Keep it only most